I think, in each and every business, the dynamic will be slightly different. So better to have, the founder needs to have the control visibility, right? And understand what kind of scale will bring profitability. And more importantly, what value you are creating, right? So, if you are, just focus on growth without creating value, I don't think we will invest in that business.
VC Talks kembali hadir dan kali ini kita akan berbincang-bincang dengan BAce Capital. Telah hadir bersama saya Benny, perwakilan dari BAce. Hi Benny, how are you?
Hey Yanni, I'm doing good. How are you?
Okay, so you're in China right now? Which part of China are you right now?
We are in China, yeah, based out in Hangzhou.
Oh, okay. So thank you for having us and get the chance for Daily Social to have an interview with BAce Capital. Maybe before we dive into the topics, you can introduce yourself and tell us more about BAce Capital.
Yeah, sure. So we started almost 2 years ago in 2019. It's a VC stage fund focusing on investing in emerging Asian market, primarily India and Southeast Asia countries. So over the last 18, 20 months, we invested about 12 companies, half in Indonesia, half in India. So as you can see that we are based out here in China, the founding partner, me and another founding partner, KK, we had many years experience investing and building business for large internet companies in China, but to India and Southeast Asia. So, we worked closely for 5 years together in our previous role. So we were sort of the first generation of, global internet, global company in China investing in the region. So accumulated a lot of experiences, in Jakarta, in Indonesia, in India. And we figured out that, it's very interesting by, having the investments and also introducing, our portfolio founders from Indonesia, for example, to the China founders, to the China business. As you can see today, China has made a lot of success new business model in the internet space, and you can see a lot of companies went public, they're expanding, creating new models. So this worked really well. So in BAce Capital, when we started, we thought, why don't we have an early stage venture arm, carry our China background and a little bit about our experience over the last 5 years in the region, Indonesia, for example, still try to, be friendly with the founder and, introduce them to the right business model with the right founders through our network in China and also through the previous portfolio we established in the region. We figured out that, the founder-to-founder conversation really helped a lot, right? So, as you can see that China probably a few years in advance in terms of, internet innovation as well as competition. So those kind of conversation really help, we find the good founders who are willing to spend time with us, who are willing to, having conversation with their China counterpart. So that's a very short background, introduction to myself at BAce. And we have our local offices. So Max today is also online. He helped us with a lot of deal sourcing and investment activities in the country. We also have offices in other regions. So before COVID, myself used to spend more than half my time, outside China, right? Maybe 1/3 of my time in Jakarta and 1/3 of my time in other countries, and then 1/3 of my time in China. But, COVID had changed that completely. But now, we are, making ourselves adapted into the new norm by meeting, companies and meeting friends like you guys online, which worked really well as well. I think the way we communicate today is also a symbol that, people's life are moving online. So we see, more opportunities, in the internet or mobile, startup companies per se in Indonesia.
So you're focusing on early stage startup only, right? Just to make sure, or are there any plan to funding also the later stage startups? What do you think about that?
In our previous life, when we worked for large, internet companies in China, we invested a lot in later stage companies. So now the focus of BAce Capital is to, investing in early stage, venture stage companies, grow with the founders, spend time with if they can be successful, will be very privileged to have the opportunity to walk all the way along with them. So yeah, early stage. So we do seed up to Series B round investments.
Okay, so to start from Indonesia, that I noticed one to be of your portfolio, which is printers and rooming. Is there any category that you are aiming, or base capital agnostic for now?
We're quite agnostic. We also have a Wallex based out in Singapore, but they have a strong business in Indonesia. We have Aspire, which is a neobanking SME focused company. We haven't announced it, so Yanni, you're the first reporter to hear that. And we have Shortlist, which is a technology-driven recruitment company. But this is a fairly small, very early stage. Shortlist probably is one of the earliest stage company we invested, but super smart founder. So those are a few companies we invested in Indonesia or related to Indonesia, although maybe Aspire is Singapore based, but they also have an Indonesia business. We're sector agnostic. What we believe is mobile will change everything. Just like today we are meeting online on Zoom, so mobile centric, internet centric is the only principle. We don't have a specific sector. But if you like printers, Rumi, they are all using technology, using mobile distribution, online distribution to change the traditional business in co-living or in traditional printers. Printing is a very old industry, but today printers is able to utilize technology to unleash the offline printers to serve more clients nationally, which in the traditional way you cannot do that.
Okay, so maybe you can share what is your point of view about Indonesian startup founder comparing to other startup founder outside Indonesia. Do you see Indonesian founder more mature now compared to probably 3 or 4 years ago? And what is your, as a VC, what is your role in terms of empowering all the Indonesian startup founders right now?
Yeah, this is a good question. I think compared to a few years ago, I can clearly see the fund is getting more mature. Probably, there are a few reasons. Of course, as technology evolved, they see, many US, China, India startup founders, they see the story. They are now believing the story of vision better than before. Second reason, I guess, over last, 3-4 years, in the region, there are a new bunch of unicorn companies who are, growing very, very fast, and their story has also convincing the founder and also consumer, right, and also their clients. Gojek is example, Shopee, SEA, Lazada. There's a lot of those companies are not even 5 years old, right? So at least 5 years ago, they're not every day penetrating to people's life. So literally you can see that. And thirdly, I think as the unicorn company grow bigger, right? So the people who had experience worked for this company before, now they jump out to start up by themselves. Right, so they learned in for example Lazada, they learned in Shopee, they learned in other companies which are very successful right now. So I can see that this is in my definition, or second generation founder, right? And lastly, I think the government is also pushing a lot of startup scheme, providing facility to younger generation startup companies, and we can see that people who studied overseas, Indonesians, are coming back to the country to join the very small, tiny but startup companies. I think there are a few reasons that the founder is getting more matured, resilient, and a little bit more innovative as well.
How do you see the pandemic change probably base capital category or plan for the future funding? Maybe next year, do you see more startup that aiming for the services like SaaS probably is more interesting to you, or do you see groceries and on demand will be rise again after the pandemic? How do you see the pandemic change the Indonesian ecosystem startups right now?
First of all, I think the pandemic is still very severe in many countries. So maybe the global economy and many traditional businesses getting impacted, and also people's life. So we hope that we can put this behind us, very soon. I'm expecting the vaccine can be delivered to all the country, the people who need that much earlier than planned. But whilst while speaking, in that circumstances, I think there are more opportunity for young companies and startup companies, new business model to be adapted in larger scale. So this is one part. So we believe that people's behavior is going to be changed significantly, right? So anything related to online distribution, a few sectors you mentioned, probably good sectors to invest in. And secondly, I think, during the pandemic, the founders in small companies also learned a lot, right? So, every founder will face uncertainties. Every founder will face, cash flow issues, during pandemic. I think everyone has been impacted for a while, which is a good and bad thing. I think this is a process to accelerate, those young founders and young companies to get more resilient. They can learn a lot. So the founders will have to learn, to control the cash flow or to invest the money into the right space, right? So, I think these two aspects will encourage me to, find better funders and find a better business to invest in. For me, although this is a global pandemic which impact everyone's life, but I think we will invest more into the founders who are innovating to add value to change the behavior of customer to overcome this period. And in the same time, like I mentioned, I hope those founders during this time grow much faster than normal days, including myself. I think myself learned and grow much more than normal days. So, it's people like you, reporters as well, right? You used to interview people offline one-to-one. Now, at this point of time, you should buy me a coffee or I buy you a coffee. But, now we all learn new manner, right? We all learn a new norm. Probably, our efficiency is better than before, right? So, utilize the trend, making innovations, train yourself, during tough time. So I think those are very, very good encouragement for me to, insist on investing in great founders.
So one of the changes also that happening in the VC scene in Indonesia and also probably globally is more VC choose startups that aiming into profit instead of growth. How do you see the future with these two? Can they work together, or there's nothing changed whatsoever when you choose growth first and then profitable next? Or maybe VCs are more flexible to take two into combination, or probably more profitable instead of growth? What do you think, Benny?
I think, in different sectors, different business, they have a different circumstance and context. Sometimes, maybe scale growth will be more important than profitability, but, some other sector will have a different situation. So I think, for me, two things is very, very important. The founder should have a clear understanding to his business, right? In what kind of condition, what, growth will result in profitability in, X month or X number of years. If the founder is having the visibility, I think growth and profitability can be balanced in a better way. Secondly, I think instead of looking at, growth versus profitability, I think, I prefer the founder to take one step back to think about the value creation, right? So, video conference is a good example. It clearly adds value, right? So the pandemic only, speed up, the recognition of the value to customers. Now they get a lot of profitability. So, I think, in each and every business, the dynamic will be slightly different. So better to have, the founder needs to have the control visibility, right? And understand what kind of scale will bring profitability. And more importantly, what value you are creating, right? So, if you are, just focus on growth without creating value, I don't think we will invest in that business. If you only chase, profitability without growth, without much clear value to be created, so I think that's not the spirit of VC or technology-driven, innovations.
I cannot agree more. Wow, I have a good insight from you, Benny. I can see you as a mentor in different kind of event accelerator program or incubator because you have a lot of knowledge about VC scene and startup in general.
No. I mean, thanks for your compliments, but I never been a mentor in the industry before. But I think we learn from each other. Actually, my previous experience when I was working for the large internet companies in China, investing in other countries, I think the founder really educated me a lot. Right? They are probably great company. The founders grow much better, much faster than investors in a way. So it's very important to engage with them, gain the trust with each other and learn from each other, right? So my thinking, my philosophy, my view to do investment has been inherited from my previous employer and from those company founders as well. In fact, I keep very, very close touch with my previous portfolio founders. Pandemic makes us talk more, right? So just grab the phone. Sometimes people get bored, during lockdown. This is very normal. So we talk more. I'm sharing, I was sharing the experience in China with them during the pandemic, right? So how China mitigate that through technology, and they also chat with me, hey, can we bring this innovation post-COVID or during COVID? So I think founder investor conversation is very important, and learn from each other and be mentor to each other.
Okay. Last question, Benny. How does it take for a startup to get noticed from BAce Capital and also your team? Is it a complete, full and insightful pitch deck, or online presence, or a good attitude? What does it take for them to get noticed from you?
No, first of all, we are in a very aggressive investment stage in Indonesia. So maybe through you, the founder should know, I'm reachable, Max is reachable, and team here is reachable. So Benny at BAce.vc, very simple email address. Don't hesitate to reach me out all the time. As a VC, our job is to meet founders as many as we can. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. I think for me, I have limited time, but I try to meet with online 6 founders in a day. For me, the best way is I think even within our portfolio, I told my founder, can you just elaborate your business model in one page, just one page, right? Sometimes maybe junior founder, they came with even after 7, 8 page, they cannot give us a full picture of the business model and what value of innovation they're creating. So our portfolio, at least they have been used to that. So one page to demonstrate your business. I think this also reflects the founder thinking, right? So in simple language, don't be too complex, right? This is very important to me. And second, what value are you creating, right? So in marketplace, you have demand side and supply side. So what is the value you're creating to the demand as well as supply? To pitch me is not that difficult. I'm willing to meet every founder, but to convince me, I think this two part is very important.
Okay, thank you for your time, Benny. Hopefully we can meet offline, yeah? Maybe I go to Guangzhou.
Yeah, you're most
Are
welcome.
you,
We wish you can be here,
are you visit Indonesia
soon.
maybe?
Yeah, I think I've been to one of your penthouse last time with a few other friends. Maybe we didn't know each other, exchange information. That was a year or a year and a half ago. Yeah, so I miss the days we can travel. The
Yeah.
days when we live in the airplane. But hopefully, all of us put the pandemic behind us very
Yes.
soon and able to meet each other.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Benny, and hopefully Daily Social get funding you soon, yeah, from Base Capital. I'm counting on you and Max on also, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Benny. Bye bye.
You have a good one.